Hi again, and welcome back to MDriven. I'm going to continue what I started a couple of weeks ago with front-end development. Yesterday I added a video of the bouncing balls from server objects. And after doing that, I thought I should add a common used front-end component as the Google Map. So this is what we're going to do today: add a map and show server data as markers on the map, and make the markers update when the server object updates, etc. So we're going to start from the beginning. This is what it will look like when it's finished, and let's see what backs this on the server. I created a new view model called map, and it has a class action that has show map. So if I go from view all things, and of course this is just a standard model that has been updated slightly. So I go from this one, view all things, and I pick this one, and I can go to view one thing as we did yesterday and add a detail with a color blue and a radius 30, and ideally we should get a let's go back. And we have the bouncing ball from yesterday. So if I go back in a new window and take the same but show map instead, I get this. And let's see how that was added by checking in Visual Studio. I added a new folder, Google Map, and I added some markup. This is the first markup, and it has a directive Google Map with a class Google Map. So the class is defined in the CSS, just setting the height and the width, and in the JavaScript Google Map JS I define the directive for Google Map here, and what it does is creating a map with center in Stockholm and zoom 4, and it adds a listener click that calls a function place marker, but we're gonna look at that a bit later. To get this in place, because Google Maps need to be loaded, I had to add this in the script from here. App wide angular script includes. I added this row, and this is an API key that is unique, and you can request it at the developer console at Google. So this is all it takes to actually get the map showing like this. And well, of course I also added in this detail here, up here, I set the tag value Angular external component Google Map. So that name refers to this name and all the names here, right? Oops, I accidentally moved it. Like that, and let's see, when I insert a row here, oops, like that, and I'm gonna add a column, some string, and put that on top, like that. And if we watch this, it isn't there now, but if I save this, Control S, and head back here and refresh, I have it here. So this is the one called CCC, right? And the map works straight off the out of the box, like this. You can pan it and zoom it. So, add a map. We've done that. Show server data as markers on the map. And to fix that, I had to add a new directive. Let's see. Here. I put the div below the map, and it's filled with spans that follows the Angular definition to create a new span for each detail. And how did I know how to do this? These are the details, right? And of course, this requires me to know a few things about the view model. And let's go to this and open a new tab, because there are ways to find out hints about each and every view model. The map is the one we're doing. And here it says, this is how we would do Angular widgets that bind to the properties in map. Okay. Data in grid for details. Okay. This is how it would be done. A repeat row in view model current map details. So this is actually the thing that I just stole and added here, but instead of a tr for a grid row, table row, I added a span, and I just wrote something here to see if it worked. I can leave this blank, of course. So having that will be enough for hello popping up down here. So that is this hello. Let's change this. Hello, exclamation, save. Refresh. So that's that hello. And if I were to add a row, add a detail row, I get another hello. So that seems to work. And this has a directive, GoogleMap marker. Okay, so in my script I add another directive, GoogleMap marker. So for each and every hello, I will end up here. And what's important for now is that I add a new marker. And then I call update position for that marker. And update position or rather I should show the marker is put in a dictionary of IDs and markers. So I get the server objects ID, scope, row, class ID, string, and I put associate the marker with this row. So for each row, each hello, I will have a unique marker, and the marker is created here. And then I call update position, and the update position finds the marker from the identity and checks if it has a lat property and a longitude property, and then it sets the position to that, and it also associates it with this map. So that would mean that if I were to set something here like 100 and 100, well, that might not be valid. So I say 20 and 20, like that. Save. So did you see what happened? I got a new marker. Actually, I had the marker, but as soon as I change one of these, the marker moves. So 24 makes it jump up, and 20 makes it jump down. And of course, since these are server objects, it affects the save state. So I can save that, or I can do 24 and followed by 26 and do undo or redo, like that. So show server data as markers on the map. Make the markers update when the server objects updates. Yeah, so we've done that as well. Oops. Detect deletion and remove the marker. Okay, so let's add another one here. 23 and 14. Okay. Detect deletion. That is done in the directive for the marker. Here, scope on $destroy. When a row is destroyed, I get this one called, and I have the dictionary of IDs and markers, and I find the marker for the ID that is being destroyed, and I set the map to null. This is the way Google Maps want us to remove markers. So whenever I do something here, like delete detail, it will be removed from here. I can remove the other one as well. It will be removed. And I can undo that, and it will jump back. And I can cancel the whole operation. And I have both. Okay. Make it possible to create a marker that in turn creates server object to hold it. when I create the marker, I say to Google Maps that it should be draggable. Or actually, this is not where I do this. Let's see. What was the question? Make it possible to create the marker. Yeah. So that is here. On the directive for the map, I add a listener called click. And whenever I get that, I call this function place marker at the given position, and I send in the scope for the map as well. So this is what happens. Place marker. It calls the scope, data, and the VM variables, and I've added a variable on the server for latitude and one for longitude. Let's look at that. Variables are seen here, right? And I added one for latitude and longitude, and they are doubles. I also added them to view here, here and here, there and there. I don't have to add them to view, but I can. So what will happen when I click is that the variables are set to the position I click on, and then I will execute a server-side action called add marker. So that's the one that is here, add marker. And what does the add marker do? Well, the add marker actually does this. It creates a new detail, and it sets its latitude and longitude to the values of the variables that we set from the client, and then it adds it to the current map details. So as it adds this new detail to this map's details, a new row will present itself here, and as a new row shows up here, the directive for Google Map marker will be triggered because there's a new row. You remember, there will be a new hello in this one. So everything works together as this. If I click, the values were set and a new row were created, and then as a consequence of creating the new row, a new marker shows up. Click again, and I rack like that. All right. Make the marker take its color from the server object. Yeah. So on the server, in the view model, I added the property color, and it's backed by this persistent property. Let's see. Why does this hang? Well, because I have this up. Like this. So, the important thing for the client is the name in the view model. It doesn't need to be the same as the stored value. So I call this color, and if you remember, color was the same thing as I had in the other view model for the bouncing balls. Was also color. So what does this mean for us? Since we have the color there, we can watch it for every Google Map marker that comes in, every detail, we watch the row's color, and if it changes we call update position. So update position actually takes the latitude and the longitude and set position. That won't change necessarily, but it's easier for me to just have one update than one for each property. So marker to update, set map, okay. And if there's a color, if it's not null, then we do set icon to an URL that assumes that there is this name -.png at Google's. I don't know. Let's see. So if I were to write purple here, that one turns purple, so that seems to work. And yellow, like that. But if I write something that doesn't exist, it disappears from you. So that isn't too good. Like that. So make the marker movable on the map and update server object on release. Right. So how did I do that? Well, when I create the new marker, I set it so it's draggable, and I set the title drag me, and I also add a listener to the marker for drag end, and all these things I found at the in the Google documentation. And when the drag is ended, I take this scope row and the latitude. Remember, this is this one. And I also set this one to what the event says is the new position. So that means that when I grab one of these, it says drag me, and I can drop it and it will update. Let's zoom the whole thing in. So if you see the data changes as I move these around. Okay. So if I view all things and I watch the CCC view one thing, these are the balls. Yeah, let's see if I can. And if I show the other view at the same time, view all things and the map. Let's see if I do it like this. And like that. So, what do I want to say with this? Well, they share the color. So this, that's, if I were to change all of them to blue, I would have blue markers, and this one will update to show blue balls. And if I were to set all the balls to yellow, I would expect the other view to update the color of the markers. Like that. So we're done, and I will upload the details so you can make use of it. Thank you.